Most people think they're tired because they didn't sleep enough, but that's probably not the real reason. Every single morning, you make one tiny decision that teaches your brain to crave distraction instead of motivation. And you probably don't even notice you're making it. Picture this. Your alarm goes off. Without thinking, your hand reaches for your phone. 5 minutes become 20. Now you're already behind schedule. You haven't even gotten out of bed yet, and somehow you already feel mentally exhausted. Does this happen to you? Here's the thing. This isn't about laziness. It isn't about weak willpower either. Your brain is simply doing what it's been trained to do. Every time you scroll social media right after waking up, you're handing your brain a massive hit of dopamine, and you didn't have to earn a single bit of it. Once that happens, everything else feels dull by comparison. Work feels harder. Exercise feels pointless. Even reading a book suddenly feels like too much effort. Your brain just tasted the easiest reward it will get all day, and now it wants more of the same. But here's the interesting part. You don't have to quit dopamine. Nobody's asking you to. You just need better sources of it. And one habit on this list completely changed the way I start every morning. So stick around, because it might surprise you. In this video, you're going to learn 5 natural ways to boost dopamine that can leave you more alert, more focused, and less dependent on your phone the moment you open your eyes. No supplements required. No 5 a.m. alarm required. Just a shift in how you spend the first 10 to 20 minutes of your day. Let's start with the simplest one, and honestly, the one most people ignore completely. If there were a pill that could make you feel more awake within minutes, you'd probably take it every single day. Well, good news, you already have access to it, and it's completely free. It's called sunlight. Morning light exposure plays a role in setting your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that tells your body when to feel awake and when to wind down. It's associated with lower melatonin levels, a healthy rise in cortisol, and it appears to support the brain's dopamine signaling. In simple terms, light is one of the clearest signals you can send your brain that says, it's time to be alive right now. So right after you wake up, try stepping outside for 5 to 15 minutes. You don't need to work out. You don't need to go for a run. Just let your eyes take in natural daylight before they take in a screen. The next habit sounds almost too simple to matter, but it can create a domino effect that carries through the rest of your day. Maybe you've thought, what's the point of making my bed? I used to think the exact same thing until I realized something. Your brain doesn't actually measure the size of a win. It just registers the fact that you completed something. That's it. That's the whole trick. Dopamine isn't just the so-called happiness chemical. It's deeply tied to anticipation and motivation, the internal push that makes you want to keep taking action. One small win in the morning can trigger a kind of snowball effect, where a tiny accomplishment makes the next task feel a little more doable, and then the next, and then the next. So try completing one small thing in your first 2 minutes awake. Make your bed, drink a glass of water, write down 3 goals for the day, or sit quietly for 5 minutes. It doesn't matter which one. What matters is that your brain gets to check something off before the day even really starts. But if you want something that hits a little harder, the next one might catch you off guard. The first time I tried a cold shower, I lasted about 3 seconds before I jumped back out. But what made me keep going back wasn't actually the cold itself. It was how alert I felt for a long stretch of time afterward. Some research suggests that cold water exposure can noticeably raise dopamine levels above baseline for a period of time following the exposure, which may help explain why so many people report feeling sharper and more energized afterward. It's worth saying that individual results can vary quite a bit from person to person, so this isn't a guarantee, more of a tool worth experimenting with. If a full cold shower sounds unbearable, you don't have to go there right away. You could splash cold water on your face, finish your regular shower with 20 to 30 seconds of cooler water, or simply step outside and take a few breaths of crisp morning air. The goal isn't suffering for the sake of it. The goal is giving your body a clear wake-up signal. But here's where it gets interesting. Even with all of these habits in place, if your body doesn't have the raw materials to actually produce dopamine, None of these tricks will work as well as they could. A lot of people start their day with coffee and a donut, or a bowl of sugary cereal. And 2 hours later, they're hungry again, tired again, reaching for a second cup of coffee to patch things up. Have you ever noticed that pattern in your own mornings? Your brain needs amino acids to actually build dopamine, and one of the key building blocks is called L-tyrosine, which is found in protein-rich foods. Think of protein as the raw material your brain uses to manufacture motivation, not just fuel for your muscles. So picture 2 mornings. Morning A is coffee and a donut, and by mid-morning, you're crashing hard. Morning B is eggs, Greek yogurt, and a handful of nuts, and your energy stays far more level for hours. You don't need a perfect, picture-worthy breakfast. You just need a little more protein than you're probably getting right now. You don't need to run a marathon either. You just need to give your body a clear message that says, "Today has officially started." Movement increases blood flow to the brain, activates several systems tied to alertness, and tends to improve mood almost immediately. There's a phrase that captures this perfectly. Motion creates emotion. You don't feel like moving, and then you move, and suddenly you feel completely different. So somewhere in your first hour awake, try to fit in 10 minutes of movement. A walk, some stretching, a short yoga flow, a handful of bodyweight exercises. Any of those will do the job. Now, here's a bonus most people never expect, and it's one a lot of American mornings are built completely backward around. If it's realistic for you, try waiting 90 to 120 minutes after waking up before you have your first cup of coffee. For a lot of people, this can help soften that mid-morning or early afternoon energy crash that hits right when caffeine starts wearing off. It's not a rule that fits everyone, and if you have a health condition or your doctor has advised you differently, always follow their guidance first. So let's bring this all together. Dopamine isn't the villain here. Your brain needs it, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to feel good. What actually matters is where that dopamine comes from first thing in the morning. If the very first source is your phone and an endless feed, your brain spends the rest of the day chasing that same kind of instant stimulation, and everything else starts to feel like a letdown in comparison. But if the first sources are sunlight, movement, protein, and a few small wins, your brain slowly starts learning to find motivation in things that actually move your life forward. None of these 5 habits require you to overhaul your entire life overnight. Small, repeated choices, made consistently every single morning, are what quietly reshape how your whole day unfolds over time. Be honest with yourself for a second. What's the first thing you usually reach for in the morning? Your phone or the floor? Which of these 5 habits do you think will be the hardest one for you to stick with? Drop it in the comments. I'd genuinely love to know, and I read every single one. If this video gave you something to think about, hit like, and consider subscribing with notifications on, because there's a lot more science-backed content like this coming your way. And if you know someone who always wakes up exhausted, go ahead and share this with them. It might be exactly what they need to hear today.